Welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year. Hope everybody's doing well. It is our weekly What is in the Stack. We're releasing this one on Saturday. Holidays got us a little busy. We did our recap of the books of the year, but we wanted to talk today in our What's in the Stack. What we'll do is Mike and I are just going to take a topic from the top, kind of go through it in detail a little bit, and then we will walk through our respective stacks and what we're reading for in our free time. Mike, today we're going to talk the state of the absolute universe. We are 3 months in to the absolute universe. And while it's a bit early to get a full picture of where you are, typically about 3 issues in is where most folks will kind of make that decision whether you're all in or all out on a book. I think a lot of people try the number one. You maybe come back to the number two if there was anything keeping you. By the third issue, you kind of know whether you're along for the ride or not. And so we wanted to talk
Yep.
about these three titles about Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, Absolute Wonder Woman. I think you and I are kind of in the same place on a lot of these. Um, I'll just kick to you on this to start. 3 months in, what's your thought on the three series? What stands out to you? How you feeling about the whole thing?
Absolute Batman. I'm absolutely all in still. I think it's a great story. I'm excited to see where it goes. I think in issue three, they kind of linked up some threads that I was hoping they were going to link up in order to catch me as a reader and keep going, i.e., Alfred and working with Alfred. I do think it's a little bit of a strange that all his enemies are his friends, but I would imagine as the plot grows that some of them do turn out to be his enemies. But it's interesting. It's an interesting twist. But what makes a successful, call it ultimate universe or absolute universe, for me as a reader, is to take this recognizable character and throw it into different surroundings. And I really think Absolute Batman has done that. So for the other two, for Absolute Wonder Woman and Absolute Superman, I'll go with Superman first. Issue one was very intriguing. Issue two, started to bend off track for me a little bit. I was a little bit taken aback. I
Lois working for an evil organization and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit disconcerting, but
The
I gave
Doctor
it
Strange
credence.
cape. Yeah.
The Doctor Strange cape was funny, but I was able to roll with it. I was thinking, okay, maybe Lois is going to change sides and see the error of the company's ways and become a crusader with Clark. But we'll see. And then issue three came along, and we got no development of that story that I was putting all my hopes in. Instead, we get this, backstory, which is kind of long-winded and cool in some ways. But for me, I wanted the story they were developing to carry forward and kind of play out. And I don't think, as a reader, we really needed that Kryptonian backstory. That's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Not
um,
yet. I think you could have done it at a later point. I don't know that issue
so,
three was the right time to drop that in there.
so for a brand new book with all this at stake, do you throw in a filler issue at issue three? I think it's too soon. Anyway, and it went weird places. Like, so he was raised by Jor-El, or he was raised by the Kents. I don't know. It left me with a question at the end, and it was just kind of incongruous how it all ended. And anyways, so that was me for Superman. For Wonder Woman, I was all in for issue one. This is a different Wonder Woman, a little bit different Wonder Woman, but I still had enough of Wonder Woman to carry me forward. Like I said again, these work best when the characters' cores stay intact. And we'll talk about this later, because if you're going to change the core of the character, well, then you really have a different character. You don't really have Superman or Batman or Wonder Woman. You've got somebody new that you're slapping the logo onto and trying to move forward. So
Yep.
Wonder Woman 3 lost me as well, um, at um, at issue three, ultimate or
Yeah,
all over
absolute,
it.
all whatever
Absolutely.
whatever we're calling it.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
so we're 3 issues into the first three titles, and I'm oh for no, I'm
you're 1 for 3 at this point.
1 for 3, but I'm hoping that Absolute Flash comes out, I think, in February.
Yeah, it's interesting in that.
We'll see. I saw the costume design. I'm like, I kind of like it. But we'll see.
We'll see. I hate when I have things work out. I can be pessimistic. I will blame the sports teams that I root for that. And that my main teams are all Chicago teams. Even the secondary teams that I kind of like the Jets and stuff,
I see the Jets there.
they're
Yeah.
also awful. I guess maybe the reason I sports is always interesting to me because I'm always very pessimistic because of my teams. And somehow any team, even if I even slightly like them as a secondary team, somehow manages to not meet even my low expectations. I had really high hopes for Absolute Universe, and I'm not giving up on it yet. But I am where you are, where it's kind of worked out like I thought it would when I saw the names that were associated with the books. When I saw Scott Snyder associated with Batman, I'm like, that's got a shot. Because the big thing I know about Scott Snyder, he's a good comic book writer. He may not be for everybody, but the majority of the time you put a Scott Snyder comic book on the stance, it's going to be a pretty good comic. It's going to be above the average for everybody else. He understands Batman pretty well. Like you said, it does hit that Ultimate Universe vibe. And that, look, if you were a guy who doesn't read Batman because it's on issue 150 and Detective Comics is on issue 1090 or something like at this point, I get it. That'd be a little hard for you to jump in. So this was a fresh starting on point. And like you mentioned, the Ultimate Universe does this well. When you read the Ultimate Universe, the titles that have really worked in this new Ultimate Universe, Ultimate Spider-Man. Why? Because even though it's a different universe with different circumstances, the soul of Peter Parker is in that book. He's
Yep.
married, he's got kids, he's older. But if you've ever loved Spider-Man, you can pick up that book and go, I recognize who he is. It's a different circumstance, and that makes it cool and a good jumping on point, but you recognize it. T'Challa is the same way in Ultimate Black Panther, right?
Yep.
You read that. If you've ever liked Black Panther, you can pick up that book and go, I recognize the element, the pieces on the chessboard have been moved a little bit, but you recognize the soul of that character. I feel like Absolute Batman has done that. Is he a little more violent? Sure. Is the mom being alive a little different? But they've changed the circumstances. But overall, Bruce Wayne still feels, if you had the Venn diagram of where everybody is, there's enough that's congruent where you look and go, that's recognizable as Batman. Well, give me it. The other two characters, I'm not going to say I'm out. I'm going to try to finish the first arc. I think Wonder Woman's 5 issues. I think Superman's the same deal. I will probably pick up at least the first 6 to give it a chance to see, am I jumping the gun on it? I will say they are both trending absolutely in the wrong direction. Wonder Woman, couple issues I have with that. They can't seem to make up what Absolute Wonder Woman looks like because here, this is a very different looking character. Let me pick this up real quick here than the character who is on this cover. That is not the same human being. And I get it, comics do variant covers. You got to tell me which one she actually looks like and which one she doesn't. And this, again, I don't like the cover gimmicks where, look, this is because it's the good looking one. That's why it's the variant cover to get people to buy it. I don't like that from the outset. She's either this huge Amazon like Darren Cook would draw her, or she's the more svelte figure that we've seen. You got to pick. You can't market it as both. I think the other thing is issue 1 and 2, like you and I talked about. Issue 1, we actually kind of liked because there was a little bit of development and backstory, and it connected the Steve Trevor thing. And it kind of felt like there's some magic, but Wonder Woman's always had magic involved. It's a little more directly there, but largely Amazon magic abilities kind of thing. Has a lasso, Steve Trevor, it all works. The third issue, it goes off the rails. Third issue, we've got she's cutting her arm off as a sacrifice to save Steve. She's got some Furiosa arm now that's there. And so, I mean, this isn't Wonder Woman anymore. This is Yennefer from The Witcher with a Furiosa arm and a Wonder Woman skin. And well, I just don't get it. I don't understand why DC can't just get the premise of what this is the idea for these absolute comics. And I get it. Maybe this was never promised as the Ultimate Universe, so I get that. But I was really hoping they were understanding that, hey, look, our main big three, our Trinity, have gotten to a place where unless you've been in the continuity for a while, it's hard to enter in and read. And I thought they were looking at it going, we're going to capture the soul of the character, change the circumstances, like you said. Wonder Woman, unless this story just grabs you, I don't know how this is really a Wonder Woman book. We've
Are
got
you
a
are you
sorceress with a metal arm.
are you with me in saying like when they do these, this is a different character. Like, why not
It's not, yeah, it's
make
not Wonder
her
Woman.
make her Franny Fantastic or whatever you want to call her, and make it Super Mike instead of Superman,
Yeah.
because what these characters are, they're not the same. So it's a little bit of a misnomer to slap the S on it and the double W's on
Well,
these
then you get into
characters.
to the biggest offender, and that's Superman, in my opinion. In that, again, I will give it time. I like to give books an arc. But what I
I'm
will say
kind
with
of
Superman, I was actually,
I'm all out already on those two.
I was,
I'm all out. I'm like, I'm just out. And and it's we're DC fans. We're like dyed in the wool DC fans, but I'm already out.
and here's what I will say with Superman. Um, Jason Aaron as a writer, anytime his name is on a book, it rings alarm bells for me. He is really, in my opinion, famous for taking characters and then doing deconstruction on them. Every single one that he does, it's Thor. Oh, but Thor's not really what you thought he was, and Jane's a better Thor, and Odin's kind of a jerk, and it's all deconstruction. Again, some of that can be accurate, like the Punisher. Actually, Frank was always a psychopath, and Wolverine, he did a very, I thought, very poor run on Wolverine for a long time. Jason Aaron, to me, I know he's got his fans. I don't think he's the worst writer in comics. But to me, he's one of these writers who just it's like a guy who says he's a fan of things, but then you talk to him about the character, and it's like that's a really weird way to see that character. And so, like you said, one of the things with Superman, first issue, I was okay with it. Different world, different circumstances, you could still make that Superman. The Lois stuff bugs me. That's not Lois Lane. Lois Lane is not a corporate stooge who works for a dictator or whatever, a dictatorship company that's
And see,
killing people.
I always thought that line was a set piece for her character to grow in the future. So I was
Thing
okay. I
is,
was willing to ride with that.
even if I go with that, then we're basically saying Lois Lane's only going to be good because of Superman, which doesn't really work because Lois was a hero well before she met Superman most of the time.
Yeah.
The other part, in issue 3 for me, look, I don't get mad at panels. I don't get mad at comics. I don't do the whole rage thing that's stupid and over exaggerated. It is as angry as I'll get over a comic book with the last page. And look, the Kryptonian flashback, like you said, are we really at a point where issue 3 we need filler? And I know people go, it's not filler, it's backstory. You're building a story. Keep me in the main timeline. Why are we going back for a whole issue already? But even if I go with that and go, you know what? Backstory, you want to tell me what happened? Cool. The art's pretty good. I'll give it that. The last page of issue 3, we see a senior living facility in Smallville that has Martha Kent in it. Now, in this, there is a picture, and I think I can try to get it close here, of the Kents with what appears to be Clark. So I'm to buy one of two things. And she looks like she's in really bad health and is crying out for her kid. So I'm here to buy one of two things on this. Either the Kents were evil and Clark didn't like them and he threw them in a senior living facility, or Superman put Martha Kent while she was in bad health in a senior living facility. Either way, get out of here. Get out. No, no. This is either going to be some deconstruction. The Kents were actually bad and they tried to get him, which is stupid. Or you want me to buy that Superman, the big blue Boy Scout, the pinnacle of superheroes, took his mom and put her in a senior living facility, and she is begging for him to show up, and he doesn't.
Yeah, I think you
No,
missed the mark when you're, well, we'll see how the story pans out. I don't know how you could write your way out of that box. Um,
no,
but you would think that the story would be just go with the fact that he came to Earth as a teenager and or whatever, and I don't know.
It's either going to be they adopted him as a teen and he was in a senior living facility, which again, I know people have to make hard choices sometimes to put their. I'm not going to say
Thanks,
that's an
Earth
inherently.
parents.
I'm not going to say that's an inherently evil thing. People get in those circumstances. Sometimes you got to do that, but not everybody's Superman. Here's the whole thing, right? If you're
That's true.
Superman, pretty sure you can figure out a way to take care of Martha Kent,
Yeah.
right? And that's the part. It's a
So that's what I'm saying. Like now it's a different
There's no way
character.
you can
Like
write out of that. There's
who
and
who is this character? It's not Superman anymore.
no,
It's
it's distant alien with a Doctor Strange cape with a Superman S on his chest, and that was what I feared on these three books. Is Scott Snyder? I knew it's probably going to be pretty good. He's a good writer. Whether it's Batman or Swamp Thing or Nocterra or whatever he's writing, he writes pretty good comic books. Jason Aaron, every worry I had is already there. Kelly Thompson, I haven't read a lot of her work, but I've read a few issues, and every worry I had about a Kelly Thompson book is there. And again, it's like you said, it's not really Wonder Woman. This is Jennifer Furiosa mix who's wearing Wonder Woman's signal. And this is some alien with lava powered gun wrist bracelet things and a Doctor Strange cape with a Superman S. And could they save it? Sure. I mean, you'd have to write a heck of a reason for that to happen. But I'm so tired of DC not taking layups. It's a layup. It's Write a Superman book that just gives us a clean continuity and we'd be in. Write a Wonder Woman book with a clean continuity and we'd be in. And instead, and I know people are gonna go, well, it's the Dark Side universe. It was created with Dark Side energy. That's why it's different. I guess. But at the
but
same time, why is Batman so similar to Batman? I mean, is the story? I guess I can get on board with that. The story is that in any universe, Bruce Wayne is just Bruce Wayne, and the other two basically needed the universe to be good to be who they were. Like it's just,
okay, I see where you're going there.
but
But
but but even that's inexcusable. Like I say that I can say that I can get on board with that because I'm a Batman fanboy and that's my favorite character. If I'm a
well,
Superman fan, get out of here, man.
yeah, I think if that ends up being the case at the culmination, like they needed X, Y, and Z to become the character that you know and love. But I think for DC, that's a difficult stretch of a story. And I really don't think it's going to go there. I really think that these two books, the Wonder
Wonder
Woman,
Woman and Superman.
and the Superman book, I really think that they just did what they've been doing, and they were like, "Well, you get to create a new universe and just go have at it, and we'll call it All In Wonder Woman, All In Superman," and then there's no editors, right? I don't know.
No, we know no one at editorial is going to step up
So
and be like,
and
"That's
it's
not
and
Superman."
it's like okay, so it's not like they're not good stories, they're just not those characters, in my opinion. I
No,
think that like
it's
for someone like me who wanted to like put Wonder Woman and Superman on my sub list for a little while, I wanted a jumping on point like I did with All In Batman. Now Batman's on my sub list, but Wonder Woman and they're just not, they're different characters. I don't know who they are,
well, no.
and
What's so weird with that?
so I'm not keeping them on my
It's
sub list.
the characters who needed the absolute universe more than anybody was Superman and Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Sales wise, look, man, Batman is strong. Batman is his main title. I don't like right now, but it's still sales wise good. Like a disastrous month for Batman is it was like, oh, it was the fifth best selling comic book this month. Wonder Woman and Superman sales have been down for a while, and they're trending up, and they're never going to get canceled. But if you wanted something where, like, man, we could make this Superman book the number one comic coming out, this was your shot. And maybe it'll work. Maybe sales was. I know the Absolute Universe sales have been good so far, but I just, if you're a Superman fan, especially, and this is the other part that DC makes me so dang mad at, we get this Superman trailer that leans into the big blue Boy Scout thing
Yeah.
completely with James Gunn. And then we got the comic here where the big blue Boy Scout dropped his mom in a senior living facility and she's begging for What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm just let us know what you guys think. How you feeling about the
Please.
Absolute Universe? I think we're 1 for 3, which would be a good batting average in baseball. I don't know that it's good for comic books, but
And DC, please put out a good concurrent comic
comic
book for
book
the
with the Superman movie universe.
yes,
Yeah.
please. And have crypto in there and everything. Just go big blue Boy Scout. That's what we like.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. How you feeling about the Absolute Universe so far? I'll probably stick with them for a few more issues, but I will say issue 3 for both Wonder Woman and Superman. It went from kind of cool to it's trending towards a crash.
And
But
stay tuned for when the Flash comes out.
all right, before we clock out for the day on this one, Mike, what is in your stack? You got anything you're reading this week? I know it was the holidays, you were a little busy, but you got anything in the stack?
Um, I have a small stack. This great comic came out. DC Comics presents Superman and Green Lantern from 1980.
Facsimiles. Yep.
I can't wait to read that. So I'm still giving DC some love. Um, this came out
Flash
this week,
Gordon.
Blackwood #5. I can't wait to read that. I thought I'd give this a try. Challengers of the
Challengers of the
Unknown.
Unknown.
So I will give that a try. And Flash came out number 16 of this new run. It's kind of cool cover B. I always get the cover B.
Cool costume redesign. I'll give it that. I haven't liked that book, but the black. Me and you talked a while about how we think Wally should get a different costume to differentiate him from Barry. So kind of cool they've done that.
Yes.
In my stack for the week, let's see. I did have the main title of Batman. This was very painful to read. I don't know if we'll do a video on that. I thought 154 was going to be the worst Batman issue in a while. That 156 might have been slightly worse. I don't know if we'll do a video. I'll probably rant too long
And we
on that.
still buy them though.
But still myself, he's done in 3 issues, and then I get Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee. So what I will say is, if you're a Batman fan, facsimile this week of Hush, the first issue, before they do that, very smart by DC, single issues of the original Hush before the sequel with Loeb and Lee comes out. Very appreciative of them doing that.
That's cool.
Cable back in his own comic book. I didn't really love the first issue, but I'm just going to highlight it because Cable's a great character, and I'm glad he has his own comic. Ongoing Daredevil book. I liked this quite a bit. I've liked this run. I know it's a little contentious with some folks, but I've actually liked that one quite a bit. And then my wife for Christmas looked through my Amazon thing and found Extreme X-Men, this omnibus. It's Chris Claremont's run, I believe.
No
It's his
way.
secondary run at the same time when Grant Morrison, I believe, was writing the main X-Men title. So it doesn't have like Wolverine, but it's got like Storm, Rogue, Beast, and Claremont writing. Pretty good. I'm about halfway through that. I got that for Christmas. Really enjoying that so far. I might try to pick up the second volume of it, but that's been pretty enjoyable. But let us know what's in your guys' stack for the week. What are you reading? What are you working your way through? As always, folks, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're having a happy new year. God bless you. We'll catch you in our next video.
Thanks, everybody.